Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and today I'm going to be sharing all about my custom-made palette. So in my last video, which is about the eyeshadow palette tag, and if you haven't watched it, I'm going to link it right here if you're interested. Basically, I showed various palettes and this was one of them. This is essentially a palette that I've custom made using all my Viseart palettes. So think of neutral mattes, dark mattes, Editorial Brights, Milieu palette, Theory palettes in Siren, Minx, Chroma, all of them. Maybe I'm missing some, but I've basically depotted all of them and made my own custom palette. So if you didn't know, other than being a YouTuber, I'm also a freelance makeup artist. So I was fed up of carrying multiple palettes and I just wanted all my mattes to be in one place where I can have my neutral browns, blacks, and all possible color combinations. I do mostly focus on fashion and editorial, so that's why the ratio of color to neutrals is quite different from, say, a typical person's eyeshadow palette. But this is what the end result looks like. So I did show you guys this in my last video, and a few of you guys wanted to see what colors I've picked. So this video is for you. Now for each shade, I am going to be swatching it as well. So I hope this is helpful. The palette that I have here is the Makeup Forever. I believe the size is extra large. And in here, I can house 53 Viseart eyeshadows, including this little one from the Petit Pro 2, I believe. But other than that, it can house 52 of the full-size eyeshadows from Viseart. The way I've arranged them to get maximum storage, I guess, is to have some which are like vertical. So the taller portion is standing up like this, whereas others are more horizontal, such as this row right here. So I have 2 rows which are vertical, whereas I have 3 rows which are horizontal, if that makes sense. So the colors range from the lightest, which is the white shade right here, going down in tone. So think of your brow bone highlights, your transition shades, and even these can be crease shades for some of these skin tones. Then I have some of my deeper, richer brown shades, which I absolutely love. These two are my favorite. And then moving into the gray or more taupey tones. Say I want to do a contour, or if I want to do a gray-black smoky eye. Of course, a matte black, essential. Moving into my yellows, oranges, reds, which includes pinks, some of the peachy tones and more rusty oranges. Then into my purples, and then greens, and then finally blues. Now I do have my shimmers in a separate palette, but I haven't depotted my recent buy, so that's the reason I'm not sharing that with you here. But at some point, I'm also going to depot my Boheme Dreams palette and then create like a all shimmer palette that works for me. So if you would be interested in that, definitely leave it in the comment section below. So essentially what I did is one day depotted all my Viseart palettes. Some of them were easier than others, especially because of the newer packaging. So I really love the newer packaging, so where you can slide out each shadow by pressing into these grooves. Whereas in the older packaging, so I have the Boheme Dream as an example. This is one of my newer palettes. But as you can see, the shadows are pretty much locked in. You cannot move them around or anything. So this is definitely going to be depotted. So essentially I depotted all my palettes and grouped all the mattes together and then arranged them by light to dark. And then any shades that I found were similar in tone or color or depth, I would group them together. Next began the process of swatching. So then I swatched so many shades, as you can imagine. And then picked a shade that would represent that group of shades, which is quite similar in tone, if that makes sense. And that way try and condense my kit, especially when it comes to browns. I don't need all the browns that I have, so this made more sense to me. And that's how I've curated this palette. So let's get into the swatches now. I will be doing the swatches by color family, so say all the browns together, the blues together, and so on and so forth. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, definitely don't forget to hit that like button and also consider subscribing. And that's it for this video. Let me know what colors you would pick if you had to make a custom palette. It's always interesting to know what you guys would pick. By the way, if you are curious about what I have on my eyes, it's mostly the Viseart Libertine palette. So I have the gold shade as my inner corner highlight. I have this shade right here on my lid. And then on the outer V, I have this shade. And then because this palette didn't have a warm transition shade, I went into my custom palette and I used the shade, the shade right here. But that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.